Supreme Court denied bail to Umar Khalid and Shahjil Imam. So it was an orchestrated attack on the sovereignty, on the public law, on the law and order of India. The USA attacks Venezuela, it is called as liberation. That is how the propaganda, it was majorly down to these two people who resulted in. Hello everyone, welcome back to Namma Laex Bangalore presents current issue of the day. In today's episode, we'll discuss about recent Supreme Court judgment regarding the bail of two accused, that is Umar Khalid and Shahjil Islam. We'll discuss what this issue is about and why the denial of bail for two individuals has become such a big issue in India. So the topic is Supreme Court expands the definition of terrorist act under UAPA. So who are the people that were denied? Hello everyone, welcome back to Namma Laex Bangalore presents current issue of the day. In today's episode, we'll discuss a recent Supreme Court judgment regarding bail to two accused individuals, that is Umar Khalid and Shahjil Imam. So why the denial of bail to two individuals has become such a big news and what the Supreme Court ruling means, we'll discuss in today's video. The title of the video is Supreme Court expands the definition of terrorist act under the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, that is UAPA. So what is the change in definition and who were denied the bail and everything we'll discuss today. So first, the background. The bail denial that sparks the national debate. Umar Khalid and Shahjil Imam were denied bail, but 5 others were given the bail here, but these two were denied bail. So that is the question which resulted in this particular debate. The Supreme Court has quoted various reasons on why they were given the bail, but these were not given the bail. We'll discuss why they were given the bail and why they were not given the bail. Supreme Court denied bail to Umar Khalid and Shahjil Imam in connection with the 2020 Delhi riot cases. In 2020, there was a Delhi riot which resulted in more than 50 deaths, and this was orchestrated directly by these two individuals, Umar Khalid and Shahjil Imam. They started chants such as Bharat Tere Tukde Tukde Honge and also converted the protest into communal, which resulted in death of 50 people in Delhi. And also the riot happened during the foreign visit of Trump to India. So it was an orchestrated attack on the sovereignty, on the public law, on the law and order of India. So that is why they were arrested under UAPA Act, because what they were doing was unlawful activities. So in order to prevent them, they were arrested. This particular decision garnered attention with newly elected New York mayor, who was Zoran Mamdani, writing letter advocating Umar Khalid's release. So this Zoran Mamdani is a newly elected mayor of New York. See, he is a mayor of New York and is writing a letter to India to release these two accused individuals under UAPA. Imagine if Zoran Mamdani on the house or in the New York or in the Washington DC has said America tera tukde tukde honge, meaning America, you will be divided into many parts, will be cut into many parts. If he had made any slogans which was going to undermine the sovereignty and integrity of USA, he would be dragged from the place and would be put in jail. That person is now advocating for freedom of two individuals who wished the same upon India, who wished to destroy the sovereignty and integrity of India. So that is the hypocrisy which is always attached with USA, be it certain individuals, be it country as a whole. As we can see in the recent invasion of Venezuela, when Russia attacks Ukraine, it is called as invasion. When USA attacks Venezuela, it is called as liberation. That is how the propaganda or war of information works in the West. Next, so the Delhi riot case, the 2020, when the nation was shaken. The scale of violence was that over 50 people lost their lives, with a disproportionate number coming from the minority community. It was majorly down to these two people who resulted in mobilizing the crowd. The international timing, as I told you, violence erupted during the President Donald Trump's state visit to India, and the nature of unrest was, it was very large scale, which resulted in arson, stone pelting, road blockades and targeting of religious localities, which resulted in many people getting killed in this as well, and many local politicians of AAP were involved as well. The prosecution contended this was not spontaneous violence but a well orchestrated conspiracy linked protest against the Citizenship Amendment Act. So the protests were barely against CAA, but this was orchestrated by two individuals, and this was orchestrated on the event of Trump coming to India. The aim was to undermine India. The aim was to destroy the sovereignty and defame India. Now, understanding the UAPA. What is this UAPA? UAPA is Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. So, India's stringent or strictest anti-terror law. This activity or this law is mainly aimed at anti-terrorism. The bail is exceptionally difficult in these cases. Unlike in ordinary cases where bail is the rule, jail is the exception. Under UAPA, jail is the rule, bail is the exception. That is how it works because it is India's premier preventive law. Next, in section 43D, clause 5 of UAPA, there is a critical provision. What does this provision say? The provision says if allegations appear prima facie true, then bail must be denied. Bail must be denied, not granted, even before a full trial establishing guilt beyond the reasonable doubt. So this is what is happening with respect to Umar Khalid and Sharjeel Imam. They have been prima facie accused here. So they are denied bail in this case. Next, intent over action. In this UAPA, more than the action, more than the physical damage, it is the intent. What do you mean by intent? Conspiracy, intent, potential impact matters more than the actual physical violence or the execution of alleged plan. Okay, so the intent of Umar Khalid and Sharjeel Imam was considered as unlawful activity and they were jailed. Next, prolonged detention is permitted. Even if the trials are delayed for years, bail may be denied on the grounds of national security. Normally, under Article 22, Indian Constitution provides protection against punitive as well as preventive detention. In the preventive detention, the maximum time period a person can be detained in the preventive detention is 3 months, after which he has to be put forward in front of an advisory committee which is headed by a person equivalent of High Court judge or any other equivalent judge. So it should be headed by this High Court judge or someone else, and that advisory committee has to look into this and then provide whether he should be detained for after 3 months or not. But in this UAPA case, there is no need of setting up this advisory committee. There is no protection for preventive detention under Article 22. So this UAPA subsumes Article 22, you can say. Okay. Next, the judgment. So why the 5 were given bail but the others were denied here? The bail was granted because 5 accused were released on the bail because they were peripheral actors involved in logistics and ground level activities, meaning they had limited organization lore, no evidence of ideological leadership and lesser culpability in conspiracy. Whereas these two, their bail was denied because Umar Khalid and Sharjeel Imam were identified as ideological drivers of the alleged conspiracy. That is, strategic planning and mobilization was carried out because of these two individuals. They also resulted in inflammatory speeches like Bharat Tere Tukde Tukde Honge, and then coordinating large scale protest. This was the result. The bail was denied. What do you understand here? Though the action was more, the intent was considered more impactful here. The intent was given higher primacy in this particular case. So all accused standing are not on the same footing according to the Supreme Court. Next, the landmark shift. So what does this particular judgment mean to others? So this is the landmark shift. That is, there is a shift in defining terrorism, redefines terrorism. What was the traditional definition of terrorism? Terrorism in traditional definition meant armed violence, that is bomb blast, shootings and physical attacks with weapons. That was considered as traditional terrorism. But here, under the expanded definition, even non-violent acts can constitute terrorism if they threaten unity, create mass fear or destabilize the public order. So in this particular case, they are considered as terrorists. Critical implication of this is speeches, mobilization of the crowd, mobilization strategies and coordinated protest can now potentially qualify as a terrorist acts under the UAPA even without necessity of guns and bombs. So this is why the particular judgment becomes very significant. Next, the legal reasoning behind this particular judgment is what makes an act terrorism now. According to this, if there is an intent to threaten the sovereignty and integrity of India, the action that aims to challenge India's unity, integrity, or territorial sovereignty will be considered as terror activity. Next, paralyzing the public order. Systematic disruption of the essential services, government, governance, or daily life through the strategic planning will be considered as terrorism. This is what these two individuals were doing. And then creating mass fear. Activities designed to strike terror, designed to strike terror among the sanctions sections of the people or society at large. And finally, destabilizing the society, that is coordinated efforts to break the social harmony, to bring communal tension and break down social cohesion or the institutional functioning, and will be considered as terrorism now. So it is not just a mere bomb blast, etc., etc. It is also all these things: threatening sovereignty and integrity, creating mass terror, destabilizing the social fabric, and finally paralyzing the public order. Next, Article 21 and the national security. So the bigger debate here is about Article 21 and Article 22 as well. Under Article 21, what is this? Article 21 calls for personal right to personal liberty, right to life and personal liberty, and Article 22 provides for protection against preventive and punitive detention. But in this case, the prolonged pre-trial detention without the bail violates Article 21 of the Constitution, which guarantees life and personal liberty. So years of incarceration before conviction amounts to punishment without trial, which is a fundamental breach of justice. That is only in the regular cases, but not cases under UAPA. So here the Supreme Court's position is that delay in trial alone is not sufficient ground to provide bail under UAPA. That is, national security laws permit preventive detention beyond certain period of time when the threat to public safety and sovereignty outweighs the individual's liberty concerns. Okay. So this is what the Supreme Court held. So in this particular case, with respect to UAPA, preventive detention or the laws under UAPA take primacy over Article 21. Very important. Next, there are two perspectives to this judgment. What the supporters' perspective is? Supporters say that the modern security threats are hybrid and non-traditional, so it requires stringent actions. Destabilization today occurs through information warfare, mobilization, and strategic planning, not just weapons. So they should be held accountable as well. National security frameworks must evolve to address the 21st security challenges. And finally, legal protection against the coordinated disruption is very, very, very necessary. And what about the opposite? What about the criticism of this judgment? The critics' concern is that this will criminalize dissent. When do we decide what is dissent and what is intent to threaten the sovereignty and integrity? So any criticism against the government, will it be considered as a dissent or will it be considered as an unlawful activity? So there is a thin line which will be broken with respect to this particular judgment. Any political mobilization can be labeled as terrorism. UAPA becomes pre-trial punishment, that is conviction without trial. So people or the government of today or government of future or tomorrow can arrest a person who is anti-government in nature and they can be left or kept in the jail or in the trial for years together. The definition of terrorism has become dangerously elastic and open to misuse. So the ambiguity surrounding terrorism will be open to misuse. That is what the argument is. Finally, a turning point in the Indian law. This is a turning point in the Indian law. How? Because it broadens the legal definition of terrorism. It is easier UAP application, that is authorities have expanded grounds to invoke India's anti-terror law, and it also results in civil liberties concern about Article 21, our right to habeas corpus, our right to against preventive detention. All this will be taken away because of UAPA and the powerful precedent. That is, this judgment will set or influence bail decisions and terror cases and outcomes for years to come. So this is about Supreme Court judgment with regard to Umar Khalid and Shahzeen Imam. So if you have any doubts regarding this, please write in the comment box. If you are clear with this, then hit a like button, comment on it, and also share with your friends as an appreciation. With this, I will end the video. Jai Hind, Jai Karnataka.